Are we live on Facebook? I am so excited. Guys, you know, those of you who have been following me, that this is actually my very last session, at least for the foreseeable future. And I'll get into that shortly. You do see on split screen my fabulous guest who, as you always know, I always bring in and introduce because I feel they deserve it. So just hang in tight, Facebook family, as we just connect to Instagram. And you guys who have been following me over the course of the last few weeks know that there's sometimes this issue. So we're dealing with that before anything else. Oh my gosh, Instagram live family. Thank you so much for sharing your time for this very last session. We're just going to be bringing in my fabulous guest. You guys already know that I never allow them to speak until I've had the opportunity to kind of lay the foundations of what it is that we're going to be talking about. So you see her on the screen right now, the stunning, beautiful Amazonian goddess that she is.
Amazonian.
That is such a compliment, lady. That is such a compliment.
It's just too funny.
Welcome to my final week of a 3-week special social series, guys, that I have been felt called to do after discovering that social distancing was going to be our new normal for the foreseeable future. I knew that I had to tap into my vast resource pool of experts to help navigate this COVID pandemic era that has literally changed the way that we live and, you know, literally changed the way that we perceive the notion of being in control. My goal with this series has been to find ways in which we can not only survive, but thrive during these unprecedented times, where during this global time of pause, as my dear friend astrologer Nadia Shah calls it, we are each being tasked to reset and recalibrate that which is important to us by questioning that which is not. I know that for me, being that I am a self-professed A-type personality, like you wouldn't guess that, I would never have stopped to refocus my life if I wasn't being forced to do so. So for that, I'm truly grateful to the crisis period that we are currently all sharing, because it's allowed me to not only reconnect with myself, but to reconnect with a force that is more greater than any other force that we've ever known as humanity. So I am being stopped for a moment, guys. So just give me 1 second to see what technology issue we have. So I am being notified, my dear guest, who shall remain nameless for the time being, that your laptop needs to be muted because they're getting echo. So to reconnect with a force that is more powerful than all those that currently control humanity. The 3 most powerful institutions that control humanity, as we all know, are finance, politics, and religion. These 3 have collectively and individually created the greatest amplification of fear that the world has ever known, but also the greatest feeling of collectiveness. So we have always been torn as to which way to go. I garner clarity from all of this in one simple way on a personal level. And I want to share that with you guys, especially since this is our closeout of the 3-week session. I believe that the only power greater than all of this is knowledge, because knowledge diffuses propaganda, manipulation, and limiting beliefs, all of which make up the unholy trinity that feeds the veins of fear and suffocates our God-given right of freedom of choice. It's that one single ability to choose or not that defines everything we know and everything that we do here on earth. I want to share that with all of you during this lockdown period, that I feel strangely liberated. And I know that many of us do, because, you know, we've all been seeing it, we've been hearing it, we've been, you know, noticing all the stories that people have been sharing, and just how profoundly uplifting that this time has been, even though it's also been the absolute opposite. Like the fact for me, for example, I want to shift my entire professional focus to serve more. For those of you who know me, know that everything that I've ever done has been to serve in some capacity or other. This next chapter of my life, which has manifested itself just recently when I turned 50, and that too on the very day that the World Health Organization declared the pandemic, believe it or not. It's been strangely prophetic for me. The notion of freedom of choice and knowledge is power have convinced me that my next chapter must be to participate in that revolution. I have a plan. I have a plan that I haven't shared with anyone. My guest is aware of it because she's in my inner circle, and it includes all of you guys. So stay tuned for more on that in the coming weeks, because I can't wait to share it at the right time when it's divinely timed for me to bring you into this new chapter of my life that I've been planning, just under the wings with a number of my fabulous team members, collaborators, and partners. I just know that you guys are going to love it. All right. So today I will be closing out a 3-week long social series, maybe short. I don't know. You guys be the people that decide on that. This week's session is spirituality and lifestyle. You guys all know that, where I've chosen experts who I believe are uniquely positioned to shed light on different aspects of spirituality and how we incorporate them into our everyday lives, especially now, especially today, especially during this era when we're all called to silence our lives and to kind of recalibrate what it is that we feel serves us versus that which has really not been serving us. This is the time that we get to figure that out. On Monday, celebrated astrologer, author, and founder of Synchronicity University, Nadia Shah. She shared her fabulous insights and education, knowledge, and wisdom, as well as tips and resources as to what's happening in the sky today that kind of reflects and just mirrors what we're experiencing here. On Wednesday, I had the pleasure of beauty, self-care, and holistic expert, Kavita Suri. She basically honed in on how she has journeyed through spirituality and how it's brought her to her purpose and calling. Today, I am thrilled to share this final session to end all sessions with my dear friend and kindred sister, Reetu Gupta. Reetu is an alpha female, an Amazon, and a goddess. She is a multi-hyphenate as the CEO of the Easton's Group of Hotels and the Gupta Group. She's a principal player in Rogue Insight Capital Limited. And she is the founder of the Shakti Society, which is the focus of the rest of this session. And it's just so mindfully set up that way because, you know, the knowledge and wisdom that we get from self is greater than any knowledge and wisdom that we can get from any other experience in life. She has a long list of accolades and awards to her name, but along with this, she is the most humblest person that I've ever met. My darling Reetu, welcome to my final session. Thank you so much for taking time out of your crazy schedule to be a part of mine and to be a part of my communities.
Hi, how are you? Namaste. I love you and I miss you terribly. And you know that I would do anything for you. In this world, I would do anything for you. So I'm so happy to even just get to see your beautiful face.
Oh, Bella, it's just such a pleasure to see you. And I miss you so much as well. So much more now when I don't have the luxury of being able to just see you and sit and eat as we do and talk about the, you know, the meaning and purpose of life as we laugh and joke about all of the, you know, the things that we go through as, you know, as humans. But here we are. We get the opportunity, at least through technology, to be the god of technology, to be able to sit here and have a meaningful conversation. So my first question to you is this. I want to ask you to share, as I do with all my guests right at the beginning, your journey with spirituality. Those of you who aren't familiar with Reetu, but know her more from the corporate side, won't be familiar with the fact that she's deeply rooted in her personal spiritual practice, which garners a lot of give back to society and to community. Where did this start and why was it an important part of your life, Reetu?
You know, it's so interesting. First of all, thank you so much for having me on your show. And thank you for everything that you do for South Asian people, for South Asian women, especially. This whole week and all the guests that you've brought on have been badass South Asian women. And I know that that is one of your many goals in life. So I really want to thank you for that. Really, really, truly thank you for that.
Thank you, babe.
In terms of spirituality, I think I was always a weird kid. And I was always very, very spiritual. And I always felt connected to some higher purpose. As a child, I didn't really know what that was and what it meant. But I would say my practice in meditation started about 10 years ago. And honestly, it was just a strange thing, I'll say, that I sat down and I made a mandir in my condo, and I just decided to meditate. And literally, as soon as I made that decision, I felt that the universe started bringing me people, bringing me books. And that's how I learned. And that's how I also met our guru. So we have a guru from India,
Yes.
and we lovingly call him Guruji or Gurudev. And I met him in 2011, I believe. And through his teachings and his meditation and just his amazing energy, I feel that my path to spirituality just sort of increased tenfold with meeting him.
Wow. So spirituality has shown up for you in the form of prayer, meditation, and the way that you live your life. You've just encapsulated that literally in the last few moments. I want to, just for the uninitiated, I want to kind of break each of these down.
Okay.
A lot of people are kind of DMing me, and I see, a lot of stuff out there that people are questioning and looking into prayer and meditation and how to kind of incorporate it into their lifestyles, especially now that they have this moment of halt to be able to look at the things that they feel aren't serving them and to find other things to help serve them better. So let's talk first about prayer. Can you break it down from your perspective?
For sure. I think it's interesting because I'm finding as well, a lot of people during this time are wanting to meditate and they're wanting to get into that world, we'll say, but they don't know how. And to be honest, I think the actual definition of prayer is speaking to God. For me though,
yes,
although I am incredibly religious, for sure, I also think that prayer doesn't necessarily have to coincide with a belief in God. I think prayer can also just be telling the universe or showing gratitude to the universe, to a higher force. It doesn't necessarily have to be God. I don't think you necessarily have to be religious to pray. I think prayer is a point where you connect to your soul and you're able to say, thank you. You're able to say, thank you for what I've been given. For me, during these past couple of weeks, for me, my prayers have all been just thanking God for everything that I have and praying that I can help as many people as I can. And
you've
so
been
for
doing
me, that
that
would be prayer.
You've been doing that both on a personal level as well as on a professional level. I mean, your organizations, every time I open up social media, I'm seeing you, with your teeth, your hands, your nails, your feet into all kinds of give back. I'd love to talk a little bit about that as well. What are some of the things that you and your organization have been doing out there?
So when this crisis started, obviously the hotel industry, hospitality as a whole was hit really, really hard.
Yes.
And I felt that I wanted my teams to know and to understand that there are other people that are suffering way more than we are. And at this point in the world, kindness is what's healing. And I feel that kindness is what is actually going to heal the world and get us out of this crisis. So I started a project called Project Kindness. And my brother and I, Suraj, whom you know very well,
yes.
We decided that we wanted to put together these acts of kindness that could spread, hopefully across Toronto. So our first act, overnight, Didi, we were able to raise 1,800 pounds of food for Second Harvest.
Oh my gosh.
Because our teams at all of our hotels have been so amazing, and they all said, Reet, you're right. We need to show kindness to others.
Yes.
So we've donated 2,500 masks, I believe, to UHN.
Wow.
This weekend as well, we're doing something for all of our staff because a lot of our staff, unfortunately, is temporarily home for the moment. So this is what we're trying to do, just to show love, to show kindness, to show gratitude.
Wow. And I know that this is just the beginning for you because I know you can't sit still. And since you're kind of sort of having to, since your industry is shut off, I know that you're going to be in there looking for opportunities to collaborate, to partner up, and to find ways in which to kind of, help people on the different levels that, people are challenged or are suffering. So, thank you so much. I have to say a big thank you to you because, a lot of people still who can help aren't. That just is the reality, and it's great to see people who can help actually doing it. And, people like you who are doing it consistently. I'm so proud of you as your big sis.
Thank you so much.
So I know that, meditation and lifestyle are the other aspects here as well. And prayer, meditation, lifestyle, are all kind of intertwined with each other. And I want to kind of encapsulate all of that as it pertains to your experiences in life by kind of going through a series of questions that I feel will help people understand this better, because it's a huge topic to talk about. So
For sure.
you're very connected to the divine feminine. That's obvious. We talk about it all the time. Hindu goddesses like Shakti Mataji are kind of avatars that you really kind of, lean into. You've called your organization the Shakti Society as well. So I know that there's a correlation there. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yes, for sure. So, as I said, I am very religious and I don't shy away from that, although I know, so I can only speak to Hinduism. I feel
Yes.
in Hinduism sometimes, if you say you're religious, they confuse it with superstitious. And then they think like, oh, maybe she doesn't use copper on a Tuesday, or maybe she doesn't cut her hair on a Thursday. I think those things are more superstitious for me.
Yeah.
I am very religious, and I believe in God and all of our gods. And I think for me, what I love about Hinduism
Yes.
is that in our religion, the female goddesses are the ones that basically rule our religion. You have Shakti, who is the main goddess,
Yes.
and she's sort of the supreme power in Hinduism. And then Lakshmi Mata, as you mentioned as well, she's the bestower of wealth. And then Saraswati Mata, who is the bestower of knowledge. And for me, I find that knowledge in itself is power, and knowledge that you get from books, knowledge of you being self-aware, that's power. And so for me, I've always really have been attracted to that. And that's why I also used Shakti in the society's name, because I feel that everybody has the ability to tap into their inner Shakti, their inner power. Everybody has it.
Right.
And so I really wanted to bring that out to the forefront. And Shakti, I find also it's a word now that even if you're not Hindu or speak Hindi, everyone knows this word, Shakti.
Yes.
It's become a lot more mainstream, I would say.
Yeah, it's very powerful. And it's interesting. I wanted to actually just kind of pick up on what you're saying there, in terms of religious versus, superstitious. I mean, I feel that really comes from not having the knowledge. Again, I keep coming back to that. I talked about that at the beginning. I feel that the most powerful tool that we have as humans, in any manifestation, is knowledge. And when you don't know, when you're ignorant towards something, when you think that something is a certain way, but you don't actually take the time to look into it, you actually don't understand what's going on. And it's those misrepresentations that create, the big fear and the negativity around religion. So it's interesting you say that. And the other thing is with Hinduism, which I feel that if everybody kind of took a moment to understand the logic and ideology of Hinduism, they'd see it actually really fits into human lifestyle beautifully, because all of the avatars have a purpose. They have a mission.
Yeah.
And all of those missions and purposes are those that we as in human form need to understand, need to experience, and need to be able to rise, above incorporating them. So I, logically, even when I was a young girl, I would, look at, this, avatar is saying this to me. So that means I must do this. And this one is saying this, so I must do this. All of that collectively, as we grow up, as we become, adults in our own right, and we start experiencing the outer world, it's interesting how we kind of forget all of those things that we learned, especially those of us in, Hinduism. I'm part Hindu. My mother is Hindu. My father is Sikh. So I had the fortune of growing up in both religious doctrines. And I also had the fortune because I lived in England amongst, a huge Christian, community, that I had the advantage of also learning that doctrine as well. And it's really interesting how all of them literally, and this is a cliche, but it's true, and you know this, Ritu, all of them are saying the same thing. They're just saying it in a different way. And I feel that regardless of what doctrine of religious texts you have been born into, you need to find the one that resonates with your spirit. You need to find the one that speaks to, your soul and helps you to lift yourself up above and beyond kind of the human experience, which is kind of why we're here, right?
100%. I completely agree.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the Shakti Society. What is the mission behind this particular community, and why did you decide that you needed to do this?
Sure. So again, going back to being a weird kid, I was always this weird kid that felt that I needed to help people. Did I have to tell you a funny story? I found
Yes.
a letter. Actually, I didn't find this. A friend of mine sent me a picture of a letter that I wrote when I was 7 years old. Okay, 7. And it was actually written to his mom, who was a secretary at my school. And I had written her a letter that said, "Thank you so much for taking care of me. You probably don't remember, but I do. You're doing a fantastic job." And I'm like, I'm 7. Like, what the hell? It's also kind of weird because I haven't changed since I was 7. But so I don't know if that's more concerning. But I think I always felt that I wanted to help. So I think in 2012.
To also lift people up, like listen to that letter. I mean, your whole purpose of that letter was to tell her that she's doing a good job and that you appreciate her. I love it.
I don't even, it was so funny to me to see that I have not changed since I was 7. No growth whatsoever.
I beg to differ, but okay.
So in 2012, I created the Shakti Society. And to be honest, I had no idea what I was going to do with it. I just felt that I would use this, and I wanted to use Shakti Society to instill courage, confidence, and conviction in people, especially women. So
Yes.
I created it and I made it a registered charity in 2012. And then 2 years
Wow.
later, it just sat there. And then 2 years later, when I started teaching meditation, it all kind of came together. And I knew that the first thing I would do with Shakti would be to teach meditation.
Right. Wow. So you have been doing that. I have been to a couple of your sessions as well. Extremely powerful. It's palpable how powerful the spirit experiences collective consciousness when they are collectively meditating together, right?
100%. 100%.
Absolutely. So I want to go there. Let's talk a little bit about that. Is prayer and meditation the same thing? Are they different? Are they mutually exclusive? Do they kind of tie into each other? There's a lot of a confusion around that for a lot of people who, don't do either. Can you shed, your experience on what you think?
Yes, for sure. So I think from what we were saying before, for me, I think prayer and meditation can be different. And I want people to know that you're able to meditate whether or not you believe in God, whether or not you pray, you can still
Right.
meditate. And I think it's important because for me, meditating is, so the correct definition, people say that prayer is talking to God and meditation is listening to God. For me though, I would like to take that a step further and say it doesn't have to be about God. It doesn't even have to be about the universe if you don't believe in it, but it's about connecting to yourself. And for me, meditation is when your heart is speaking to you. And
Right.
I think all of us, we have that little voice in our head that says, don't go down that road, don't text that boy, don't go do this. And sometimes we don't listen to it. So I think that what you have to do when you meditate, it's allowing your heart to speak. It's allowing your soul to speak. So I would encourage everybody, even if you're not religious, it doesn't matter. But meditation is something that anybody can do. And it's so, so important.
You said something so profound that I just want you to say it one more time. So you basically said that prayer is a certain thing and meditation is a certain thing. Can you say that again? Because I almost feel like I need everybody to hear it one more time and take that moment, because, I think I need to kind of write it up in big neon lights even, as to the difference between what prayer is for, a human versus what meditation is. Can you say that one more time?
Sure. I think what you mean is when I said that prayer is speaking to God and
Yes.
meditation is listening to God. And for me, I would say that you can also substitute the word God for universe. And for meditation, you can substitute universe for your heart. And I think prayer is also just speaking from your heart, and meditation is listening to your heart.
Wow. I just love that. I feel like you need to do a session on that. That is just so profound, sweetheart. I do them both, but I never actually looked at them from that perspective, but I'm going to moving forward.
God.
You've just kind of changed a trajectory in my headspace around the two of them. And I just want to say thank you for that. Okay. So I want to also, ask you, how can people get involved with the Shakti Society? Like, I know that I always get the emails and to participate. People who aren't familiar with it, like where do they need to go join it? And, what do you do in this community that it, would benefit people to want to join?
Yes, for sure. So I have to say that my soul is about 102 years old, so I'm still getting used to technology. I mean, even before, no, honestly, even before coming on today, I didn't know how to share screens. I was a little nervous. I was like, I'm going to screw this up. Sorry. I thought I would. So I was born in Scarborough. I'm sorry. It just comes out at times. So back to the Shakti Society. You can send me a message on Instagram if you're watching on Instagram, or on Facebook as well. We do have a website, www.theshaktisociety.com. So right now we do meditations, and I've been doing them online as well. And the one thing also that we do with the Shakti community is usually once or twice a year, we do a big event where we help others. So last year, I believe around Christmas, we actually made a whole bunch of sandwich bags, and all of the people that came, it was so cute. They wrote a bunch of inspiring messages on these bags, and we had given them to the Out of the Cold shelter in Markham. So it was really cute to get everybody all together, and everyone was so inspired and excited to help. And that just made my heart so happy. So it's a growing community, and honestly, things are changing every single day. But currently, that's what we've been doing.
Okay, perfect. All right. So let's talk a little bit about what some of the basic principles of meditation are, Ritu. Like, what are maybe some of the things that you do? Because I know it's an extremely disciplined practice, but we live in today's world, and somehow we have to figure out how that's going to be a part of our lifestyles, because meditation has this habit for those of us who meditate to make us lose track of time. You can just kind of disappear into kind of this space of beautiful silence, and before you know it, so much time's gone by. But we live in a world where time kind of controls everything we do. So I'd love to know from your perspective, your experiences, and maybe some doctrines. What are the basic principles of meditation?
So the basic principles, if we're talking about why we meditate and how we meditate, right?
Yes.
So why do we meditate? So actually our Guruji says that for every 10 minutes a day that you meditate, you extend your life by one entire day. So even through that, you can see how much benefit meditation has. And for me, you can see meditation everywhere. So let's take Kawhi Leonard, Game 7. He takes the buzzer beating shot. He wasn't screaming when he took the shot. He wasn't all over the place. He literally sat on the floor and essentially meditated until that ball went in. So for me, I think that meditation is everywhere. Some people find they can still their mind maybe when they garden, maybe when they work out. I think meditation can be in different forms. For me, the most important form is being able to sit and being able to still your mind. And if you research any leader, any world leader, any CEO, Fortune 500, they all practice meditation, and they will all tell you the importance of quieting your mind and allowing your heart and your soul to speak.
Wow. And you're absolutely right there. So, those people who think it's kind of like a woo-woo thing, that, only people that sit there all day long, doing nothing but, praying, people believe that, this. This is actually a really great way of, including in your lifestyle something that helps you in business, in your professional life, in your relationships with, not just yourself, but with other people. That's really what you're saying here, right?
Yes, 100%. I think that, so for me, the major benefit that I've seen with meditation is because you're allowing your mind to quiet and you're allowing your mind to have that sense of stillness. It's like when your phone has a million apps on and it starts to slow down, your mind is the same way. And we need to be able to slow down our mind so we can allow new thoughts. Something that I've read is that 95% of our thoughts are the same from the day before. So if the day before you were really negative, you were really down on yourself, you were sick of being isolated and all this kind of stuff, the next day you're thinking everything the same. So with meditation, you're allowing your mind to let go of that negativity. And when you're able to see clearly, so for me during this crisis, I know meditation has saved me because I was able to see clearly and to take our company through this. But if I didn't meditate, I would be a nutcase. I mean, I'm still a nutcase, but I would be even more of a nutcase.
So actually, let me ask you something here. You said that meditation came to you about 10 years ago. Pre and post meditation. Who was Reetu Gupta?
Such an amazing question. So I was always really hyper. I'm still really hyper.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
you are, my dear.
Yeah. Okay. So is there much of a difference?
It's infectious in all the right ways.
No, it's so funny. I was always this kid that was like dancing around, and I realized, okay, no, I'm still the same in that aspect. Honestly, I would say, yep, peace of mind and clarity for sure. I think that would be the biggest difference. And honestly, I feel like I'm growing every day. So the person that I was yesterday, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, it's not that I'm so different, but honestly, I feel like I'm more self-aware, and I'm definitely more calm in a sense. If there's a crisis, I am not going to freak out and panic. It's going to be, okay, let's look at the solution. Everything happens for a reason. How can we take this crisis and make it into an opportunity? How can we take this crisis and look at something good? I think Didi, honestly, the most important change would be that I think positive about everything. And maybe some people would say that I was always like that, but for me, I can see that difference as well, that it doesn't matter what's happening. I'm going to see the silver lining, the bright star, the reason why this is all happening. And there's always a good reason.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. Certain words are used in meditation for their manifestation power, right? Words like Om, I am, and many others. How do we decide what words to focus on when we meditate in order to accomplish a specific outcome?
You know, Om is such an interesting word. And Didi, as you said, you grew up with Hinduism, Sikhism, and Christianity, right? Yes. So when you look at the sound of Om, it's actually prevalent in all of the major religions. So in Hinduism, we say Om. In Christianity, they say Amen. In Arabic, at the end of their prayers, in Islam, they'll say Amin. And in Judaism, in Hebrew, when they say hello, goodbye, they'll say shalom. And it's this sound of Oma, which for us, we know that it's the sound of the universe. And it's actually the sound of the highest cosmic vibration that's in the universe. And for me, this is why it's so important when I do my guided meditations, I start with the sound of Om, because it really centers all of your energy and it sort of preps your mind for the meditation.
Wow, absolutely. You know, I didn't know that. And it's interesting because, you know, Om, Amen, these are words that I use and they just give me peace when I'm in that moment where I'm like, you know how our lives are, right? I mean, we're entrepreneurs, we're businessmen, we've got lots going on. And all of a sudden, you know, I'm being attacked by all kinds of things in my life, business-wise, of course. And, you know, I take that moment and I just say Om. And you know, within seconds, everything just changes in my perspective of what I'm having to face. And I'm just able to face it with, you know, with very little effort. So you're really right in the power of this. If people want to learn how to meditate and they've never meditated and they've just heard everything that you had to say and they're feeling a bit overwhelmed, what would you say to them to start, you know, with a few simple steps?
You know what? Meditation is very easy. And I would say that it is, I understand that it's overwhelming. So the main thing I hear from people is there is no way I can turn off my mind. The second that I sit, I remember my laundry. I have to take my dog out. I have to take my kids out. You know, they remember all of these things. So I would say what I would suggest is sit down, give yourself 3 minutes. And number one, don't be hard on yourself. Because I think a lot of people, they tend to sit, they get all of those thoughts about work and everything. And then they immediately start yelling at themselves in their head, right? What are you doing? Oh my God, you can't meditate. If you don't want someone else to speak to you like that, you should never speak to yourself like that. So I would say the second those thoughts come, the second those thoughts come, just say, I hear you. And I'm going to deal with you in 3 minutes. And that's it. Just 3 minutes. Give yourself 3 minutes to just sit. Those thoughts will, I promise you, they will quiet because now they know you're going to deal with me in 3 minutes. And for the first minute, just follow your breath. That's it. It's honestly just that simple of following your breath. And that would be, for me, that would be what you could do as sort of an introductory exercise. The sound
so a bit of yoga. So a bit of yoga then really. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think yoga and Om, they also go, you know, so much hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's interesting you're saying that because many years ago when I first started to, you know, I didn't know I was meditating, but I was meditating. When you kind of look back and you say, you know what, I remember that I was actually meditating then. And I remember as like a really young girl, because I was also like a major weirdo. And I feel that I still am, if you were to kind of look at what is considered norm in this world.
Right.
And I remember sitting on my bed. I remember actually, I want to share this with you, but I remember sitting on my bed really, really young, and, you know, and I was scared. And I was scared because every night when I used to go to bed, I used to have nightmares. And it wasn't about anything in particular, but it was just about scary things, like, you know, scary faces or scary stuff, right? You know, that thing that just gives you chills, right? And, you know, one day I just got fed up of these nightmares, and I decided that I was going to combat it. So I sat there, little old me, on my bed, and I took the light off, which is kind of the most scariest thing in the world.
Of course,
for me,
to be in the dark.
Yeah. I took the light off. I sat on my bed, and I thought, and I looked through the darkness, you know, and I was like, where are you? You know, like, where are you? Like, what are you? You know, why do you make me feel so uncomfortable? Right. And can I tell you something? I can't even, no word of a lie. I just felt a massive silence, right? Massive silence. And I closed my, and then all of a sudden I felt kind of like this wave of fear. So I don't know if something was coming in, or I just all of a sudden went from feeling meditatively silent with myself to not feeling silent. I don't know what it was, but I remember in that moment of fear that I said, you know, like the Nitnam, like it's a Sikh prayer, it's like Ikom Kar Satnam Karta Purkh. So that whole puri, I said it, and then I said Waheguru, and I'm telling you, no word of a lie, but that thing that came in like a wave went right back out. Right back out. The power of the word of God, the name of God, was something that was introduced to me as that tiny little girl all those years ago. And I knew that I needed to discover who he or who it or what that energy really was. And that's the journey that, you know, people like you and I, as weirdos, as old ancient souls, are constantly going on that journey. I mean, it's the journey of reincarnation, of course, right, as well. So I wanted to share that with you. I just felt compelled.
So you also have not changed, by the way.
No.
so something, you feel something coming, you're like, come at me. I'm going to turn off the lights.
Sort you out.
You also have not changed.
Like, bring it on.
Yeah, you're like,
give me your worst.
No.
Give me your worst, because I can still handle it and you.
100%.
And I'll send you on your way.
The cutest little kid. Oh my God, you must have been so cute.
Oh my gosh. I actually was quite cute, to be very honest.
I could just see it. Oh my God, flicking off your life, being like, okay, let's do this.
Come on, bring it on.
Go.
Bring it on.
I'm done with this.
Exactly. So, you know, so people who feel fear, I think that's a big thing, right? People who feel fear have got to walk into that fear. They got to. And I feel meditation is a big part of that. Like you said, when you sit there, just take 3 minutes, right? Take 3 minutes and know that you're going to have 3 minutes where you probably are not going to be completely in silence, because you haven't created the habit of that. And I feel that's another big thing that needs to be shared about meditation, guys. And what Reetu was saying, don't beat yourself up if these thoughts come into your head, because at some point, repetitively, when you start doing a couple of minutes of meditation on a daily basis, you'll notice that all of a sudden that your mind will learn how to silence itself. And it's not even something that you can actually teach, I feel. I feel that habit of sitting there and being mindful that you want to meditate and you want to create silence and clarity. It's setting those intentions. Eventually, the habit of it, the practice of it will get you there. It has for me.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, what you said, your story was also just so moving, because you were, even at a young age, you decided to address your fear through meditation without even knowing it. Yes. And I think, you know, at this time, there is so much fear, Didi, you're right, especially during this time. And if I can just share something with this word fear, I feel that fear can have two meanings. So right now, we can all choose to have fear mean fear everything and run. And, as Didi said, don't do that. Turn off the lights, face your fears. I think now at this time, it is so important that we change that meaning of fear and we change it to face everything and rise. We will get through this time. And whatever it is that you're most scared of, I agree with you 100% that meditation can help with that. And I think it's just a matter of changing that definition of what fear means to you.
Absolutely. And I want to actually even ask you your opinion on this as well, Ritu. When people think of being religious or, praying or meditating, they always kind of, instinctually feel that you need to be someone that doesn't eat meat or doesn't drink alcohol or what have you. What are your thoughts around that? And I'm saying your thoughts, not what's, doctrinated.
Of course. You know what? For me, I think that you have to do what makes you happy. And so I'm vegan and I also don't drink. And honestly, for me,
I'm glad you don't drink, girlfriend. I mean, that personality, I don't even know who could contain it if you did.
Honestly, I'm telling you, people are like, oh, I want to go out and have a good time and have a drink. I'm like, I don't need the alcohol to have a good time. Trust me, we're good. So honestly, I think for me, it's not, I really don't appreciate people that will sit and say that I'm vegan, so I'm healthier than you, I'm better than you, and they really preach their lifestyle and they bring other people down. I really don't believe in that. I think you have to do what makes your heart and your soul happy. And I think food is so important. You should be able to eat what makes your heart happy. For me, it happens to be no alcohol, no meat, and I'm vegan. And does that help me meditate personally? Yes, 1000% it does. But I don't think you have to follow a strict way of life in order to be spiritual, in order to be, meditative.
So what do you feel that a person needs to be then? Like, as an individual?
Willing. You just need to be willing.
Yeah.
You just need to be willing to sit and to be with yourself. I think people are almost the most scared of that sometimes, but just be willing. And if you tell yourself that you're willing and you're willing to learn and you're willing to meditate, the universe will then start to guide you. The teacher will appear, but the first step, all you have to do is to be willing.
Wow, that's so palpable. Be willing, eh? I completely agree. It's believed that deep meditation can result in supernatural things. I mean, and I use that word so loosely because when people think of supernatural things, they think of things that, they think of it in a negative way, right? Things like being able to see into the future, being able to leave the physical body. We hear about yogis, doing this, levitation, going without food and drink for long periods of time, which just doesn't logically seem to biologically make sense. And to also kind of perform quote unquote magic, and magic meaning things that not everybody is exposed to, right? Is there any truth to this through written documentation? I want to ask you this because I know that you are always, a scholar of knowledge and information, just like I am. Like, have you come across this? It's a big one. I know it's a big one.
I'm laughing for some
and people
reasons.
are scared of it. So I want to kind of
that's why I'm scared to answer. I'm like, all right, well, let's just put it all out there. I 1000% believe in magic, and I've always believed in magic. I have experienced through our guru. I have seen him go into meditation for days without eating, without drinking, and he's a very different soul. So I do not recommend this for normal humans.
Of course.
But honestly, for me, Didi, I know how to astral travel. I've done that before. In terms of seeing the future, I know it sounds creepy and it's like JoJo's Psychic Alliance from like the 80s, but it's not that. I truly believe that any human is capable of seeing the future because we all have that intuition. We all have that little voice that tells you when something is not right. And if you're able to hone in on that, you're able to quote unquote see the future. But I do think all of these things are possible. I was telling you, Didi, about that book, Buddha by Deepak Chopra. It's on the way to you, by the way.
Okay, wonderful. I can't wait to read it.
You have to read it. You will resonate with it so much.
And I'm such an advocate of, Buddha's doctrines and teachings. It's everything that
I
I
think
follow.
his story and his life,
Yeah.
you especially will resonate with it for sure. And the higher calling, and it's 100% you. So it's on the way to you. That book and Autobiography of a Yogi. It
Yes.
also, Autobiography of a Yogi teaches you the science behind astral travel, behind intuition and all of that. So there's actually written books and scientific books that will explain how all of this is possible. So I 1000% believe in it, and I've experienced it myself.
Absolutely. And and you know, I want to share as well, since we're going there. I mean, we're going there, right?
Yeah, sorry.
So you know, astro travel is something that I've also experienced at different waves in my life, especially the last couple of weeks. Like the last couple, you know, just with kind of all the astrological conjunctions, and you know, just the stillness of the universe, and just how, you know, we're using energy as a collective, you know, human experience. I just feel that we're, you know, if you allow yourself, I think that you can actually tap into a greater, purer sense of yourself, just because the world is not as polluted, even though, you know, we have the virus. But on the flip side of that, there's so many other layers of pollution that are kind of disappearing. And I feel that when pollution is removed from our atmosphere in any form, it changes the dynamic of the energy, and it changes the human experience. So I don't know if anyone out there, you know, has gone through any of this, but I've felt a lot of activity during sleep time. So
I've actually heard a lot of people, Didi, that they're having interesting dreams, almost, and it's dreams that they almost feel is giving them a message. So I've been hearing this a lot from people. So I completely agree. There's different energy happening in the universe right now, for sure.
Absolutely. So just to kind of close off, because I'm getting the 5 minutes from over there, the countdown. I wanted to just ask you if anybody wanted to kind of tap into prayer and meditation. Are there any resources that you recommend that people should maybe read or look online? Is there anything that you would recommend that they could start with?
Of course, God, there's so many. I would say Deepak Chopra. I know online he also does guided meditations.
Yeah.
He's definitely a great one. I will be doing weekly meditations every week starting next Friday, the 24th. Every Friday at 4:00. And I promise my meditations are super easy. They're good for anyone. So
how do we log in? Yeah, tell us how we log in.
Instagram Live.
Okay.
So with
what's your handle? Which of your many handles?
So the name is Sis from the Six, Sis _ from _ the _ 6.
Okay.
So I will be live on Instagram every Friday, 4:00 with meditations starting April the 24th.
So can I just have you put in the comment box what your handle is, because there's a lot of underscores there, and I know that everybody's going to be asking me about what your handle is. Are you able to do that on your side?
It cut out for a second.
So in the comment box, are you able to put in what your handle is? Because there was a lot of underscores that you just mentioned. Yeah, just so that people know.
Do you want me to type it?
Yeah. Can you do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So just up on, there it is. Thank you, Varuna.
Oh, V, thank you, V. Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Because, you know,
V,
I want
people
to be able to find you. Thanks so much, Varuna. So I wanted to also ask you, any final words that you want to kind of put out there for people who are, you know, really finding it difficult to get through their day? What are, you know,
100%. I think that right now, everyone's saying that this is the new normal. This is not the new normal. This is the new temporary. This is going to go away. Our world has been through recessions. We've been through 9/11, SARS, H1N1, and we've always bounced back. I promise you all, we will bounce back. The new normal is what's scaring people, that this is going to be the rest of our life forever. It's not. It's temporary. Things are already starting to recover. And I think I want people to understand that this is not isolation, it's salvation. And Didi, is exactly as you said, that you're taking the time to be quiet and to be with yourself. I feel that the world is in a point of salvation where Mother Earth is breathing again. And this is giving us all a time to breathe and to find that place within yourself. And I would urge all of you to not be scared and to instead face everything and rise. And just remember that, take out this word isolation because it's making people nervous. This is salvation. It's a time for you to find yourself, to be with yourself. Maybe you meditate, maybe you dance, do whatever you need to do, but do something that makes your heart happy, for sure.
Yeah. And it's interesting you say that, because meditation also has many forms. It's not just sitting there still in silence. I mean, Shiva would dance. His dancing was a part of his meditative practice.
100%.
So,
100%.
that dancing that you do secretly in your room, Ritu, that, I'm very familiar with. I know that you're meditating, girlfriend. I know that's what's going on.
I've been dancing since I was 8 years old. My mom taught me. So even during salvation, I've been learning new dances, and I even told my family, like, I'm going to do a performance for you. So not so secret.
Love it. Absolutely. So, I just want to ask you one final question, my love. I adore you in like so many levels. I've seen you grow up from the young child that you were with my lovely Steve Gupta. And, it's been wonderful to see, the woman that you've grown into. And what I love the most, and there's so many things that I love about you, is the fact that you just haven't lost just that spirit of innocence, that you're always so fabulously happy and joyous, and it kind of it blows into a room when you come in. And I can't wait to sit and to be able to kind of just be consumed with that energy of yours. I love you so much. I feel it. It's palpable through our conversation today. And, and all of you guys out there, I encourage you to go check out the Shakti Society and see what, Ritu is up to, and, anything that she kind of puts out there where she's, really putting out her acts of kindness. Get involved, guys. Like, all the little things are what make great things happen. And again, I thank you, my darling, for spending 60 beautiful minutes with me. And I cannot wait until, we're able to share so many post-COVID memories, which is what I'm looking forward to. And actually, I kind of feel like I want to ask you one more question. I've been told that I have a small moment of time. I want to ask you, because it's a question that I've asked a couple of other people, and I kind of feel that I want to ask you. Do you remember that time when we hit the 9/11, and people have always kind of referred to life as pre and post 9/11? Right? And kind of the big thing that came out of the 9/11 for us as humanity was just a sense of security, the sense of wanting to feel safe, right? Pre, post COVID, what are your thoughts on what you feel we're going to take away from this experience? What are we going to define as, remember when we had, COVID-19? This is the collective, human experience that we got out of this.
What I can tell you, what I hope that we all get out of this, I hope that what we get out of this is showing kindness and showing love to others. I think right now, staying home is showing kindness to yourself and showing kindness to others. And you see people that are helping. You see all of our healthcare workers, God bless them, everyone on the front lines, they're working for us. So for me, when we come out of this, I hope that people take a moment and remember that, and feel gratitude and feel love and feel kindness. I'm really hoping and praying that all of the fears people are feeling now, everything dissipates. We're back out in the sun, and I hope, honestly, I really, really hope that what comes out of this is more love, more kindness, more happiness. I think that's what the world needs, and that's what we need to focus on.
Absolutely. Amen to that, sister. Love you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Be safe.
Thank you so much to our Facebook Live family, and also to our Instagram Live family. You guys have been around for 3 weeks of wonderful, insightful conversations with some of the most incredible people that I've ever had the pleasure of having experienced life with. I just want you guys to stay healthy and happy, whatever that may mean in your world. And also remember, this is not World War I or II. This is definitely not World War III. All we're being asked to do is to sit in the comfort of our homes and just help the little, the medium, or the large amount that we can. And I really feel as a collective that we can do this. We've already shown, all of the powers that be, that we are a positive race, that we're able to come together and to make a difference that even Mother Earth is praising and thanking us for. So on that note, stay healthy and happy. And thank you so much for being a part of my 3 weeks. I'm sending so much love and gratitude, and I'm very thankful to all of you. And I'll see you again soon.
Thank you so much.